Very good afternoon to all. Now I would like to request our session chair, high level Bangladesh consultation sessions, consultation chair, Bir Mukti Jodha, heroic freedom fighter, His Excellency Mr. Hassan Lokino MP, Chairperson Bangladesh Intergovernance Forum, and Chairman, Parliamentary Standing Committee for Ministry of Information and Broadcasting of Bangladesh Parliament, for deliver his introductory remark. Very brief. Over to you, Bhai.
Thank you, H.M. Bazlur Rahman. Let me welcome from Bangladesh a consultation meeting on universal acceptance of .Bangla, which has been initiated by the government of Bangladesh and especially the Ministry of Post and Telecommunications a few years back. Here it's a multi-country consultation meeting, and we asked from the Bangladesh side here His Excellency Mustafa Jabbar, Minister Post and Telecommunications. Then we asked the Chairman Bangladesh Telecommunication Regulatory Authority, Shan Sundar Shikdar. We asked Dr. Muhammad Rafiqul Mateen, Managing Director, BTCL, which actually looks after the .Bangla domain. And we asked from the Bangladesh side, the Secretary General of Bangladesh Internet Governance Forum, Muhammad Abdul Haq. And now we asked in this meeting from Singapore, Mr. Zia Rong Lo has joined. He's the Vice President and MD ICANN Singapore. And Sarmad Hussain, Senior Director IDN and UA Programs. She has already joined. Dr. Ajay Datta, Chair UASG, is supposed to join very soon. Apart from that, we have Shamiran Gupta, ICANN South Asia from Delhi, India, and also Professor Mahmood Rashid, who looked after the language and other things. And he, of course, Lieutenant Colonel Rakib, who was instrumental in helping the government authorities to submit the primary documents to the ICANN. So, having said that, let me say a few words. I thank ICANN and other concerned authorities that .Bangla has been accepted. Now, this next process is universal acceptance of .Bangla. This process should be done very quickly so that we can function very smoothly across the world. So now I will request the Bangladeshi authorities and also especially ICANN authorities to initiate the process of the universal acceptance of .Bangla very quickly. Whatever the necessary requisites are necessary, please, the ICANN authority can spell out, and the minister is here, the BTRC chairman is here, and BTCL MD is here. They are the right persons to answer all these questions and accept your queries and act accordingly. Having said that, I welcome everybody to this roundtable and consultation meeting. Thank you, everybody who has participated. Apart from our mentioned names, there are other participants who are listening to our dialogue. So I welcome everybody. Thank you. And as you know, just to mention that the month of February is the month of language martyrs days. The Bangla language, that is this in 1952, the Bengalis led their lives against the then occupational Pakistani government, and 4 martyrs laid their life and blood. So Salam Rafiq Jabbar. So 1952, 21 February is the day. After that movement and confrontation and laying our lives, Bangla was accepted as the state language of Pakistan. So now Bangla is now spoken by more than 350 million people across the world. We in Bangladesh, we have 160 million, but Bangla is one of the largest speaking language of the world. So my tributes to the martyrs of 1952, 21 February. And again, I welcome everybody. Thank you very much. Over to AHM Bazlur Rahman, Chief Executive Officer, BNNRC. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bir Muktijodda, heroic freedom fighter, His Excellency Mr. Hassanullah Kinu, for your introductory remark. Now again,
by the way, Mr. Mustafa Jabbar, His Excellency, the Minister, is also a great freedom fighter and a colleague of mine in the liberation work.
Yes, and I see our Honorable Chairman of Bangladesh Telecommunication Regulatory Commission has already joined. Welcome, Honorable Chairman. And I see Dr. Ajoy Datta has already joined. Ajoy Da, very heartiest congratulations. Welcome from Dhaka, Bangladesh. Okay. Again, welcome to the high-level Bangladesh consultation on universal acceptance of .bangla country code top-level domain (CCTLD). I would like to express my thanks to the Bangladesh Internet Governance Forum and Universal Acceptance Steering Group and ICANN for organizing the high-level Bangladesh consultation on universal acceptance of .bangla CCTLD. Today, it will be the high-level consultation for getting your valuable inputs, knowledge, how we will be doing the work, the universal acceptance of .bangla country code top-level domain called the CCTLD. It is a great pleasure to be with you here in Dhaka, Bangladesh this afternoon as moderator. Let me offer my sincere thanks and appreciation to Bir Muktijodda, heroic freedom fighter, His Excellency Mr. Mustafa Jabbar, Honorable Minister, Post and Telecommunication Division, Ministry of Post and Telecommunication and Information Technology, Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh. High-level consultation chair, Bir Muktijodda, heroic freedom fighter, His Excellency Mr. Hassanul Haq Inu MP, Chairperson, Bangladesh Internet Governance Forum, and Chairman, Parliamentary Standing Committee for Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Bangladesh Parliament. We have a special guest, Mr. Shamsundar Sikdar, Honorable Chairman and former Senior Secretary, Bangladesh, former Senior Secretary, Government of Bangladesh, and Chairman, now Chairman, Bangladesh Telecommunication Regulatory Commission, BTRC. We have a special guest, Dr. MD Rafiqul Mateen, Managing Director, Bangladesh Telecommunication Company Limited, BTCL. We have a guest of honor, Mr. Jiarong Lo, Vice President of Stakeholder Engagement and Managing Director, Asia Pacific of ICANN. We have Dr. Ajoy Datta, Honorable Chair, Universal Acceptance Steering Group, Mr. Sarmad Hossain, Senior Director, IDN and Universal Acceptance Program, and our great mentor, Mr. Samiran Gupta, Head of Stakeholder, ICANN South Asia, and distinguished participants. This is of tremendous and timely importance because universal acceptance is a fundamental requirement for a truly multilingual and digitally inclusive internet. Universal acceptance ensures that all domain names, including long new TLDs and international domain names, IDNs, and email addresses are treated equally and can be used by all internet-enabled applications, device, and system. Technically, they must accept, validate, store, process, and display all domain names equally, constantly, and correctly. Until universal acceptance is achieved, it is not possible to provide a consistent and positive experience for all internet users. Today we have distinguished and very diverse panel. Without delay, now I am going to introduce you Mr. Abdul Haq Onu, Secretary General, Bangladesh Internet Governance Forum, for the welcome remark. Sir, you have 5 minutes. Over to Odo Bhai.
Thank you, Bozdu Bhai. Good afternoon. Bozdu Bhai, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, please.
Hello, Bozdu Bhai. Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to welcome everyone to the high-level Bangladesh Consultation on Universal Acceptance of .Bangla today afternoon.
Yes.
It is so wonderful to see you all here on this sunny day. We would like to extend a special welcome to the high-level Bangladesh Consultation on Universal Acceptance of .Bangla Chief Guest, His Excellency Mr. Mustafa Jabbar, Honorable Minister, Post and Telecommunication Division, Ministry of Post, Telecommunication and Information Technology, Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh. High-level Bangladesh Consultation Chair, His Excellency Mr. Hassanullah Kinu MP, Chairperson, Bangladesh Internet Governance Forum, and Chairman, Parliamentary Standing Committee for Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Bangladesh Parliament. A special guest, Mr. Shamshuddar Sikdar, Honorable Chairman, BTRC. Guest of honor, Gio Rongro, Vice President and for Stakeholder Engagement and Managing Director, Asia Pacific and ICANN. Dr. Mohammad Rafiqul Motin, Managing Director, BTCL. Dr. Ajay Datta, Honorable Chair, Universal Acceptance Steering Committee. Mr. Sarmad Hossain, Senior Secretary, Senior Director, IDN and Universal Acceptance Program. Our mentor, Mr. Shomiron Gupta, Head of Stakeholder Engagement, South Asia, ICANN. Myself, mentor and today consultation moderator, Mr. Bozdur Rahman, CEO, BNNRC, and distinguished participants. Bangladesh Internet Governance Forum is a multi-stakeholder organization aimed to eliminate issue and create ideas and internet use in Bangladesh Internet Governance Forum. BIGF is a domestic independent forum that has engaged civil society, organizations, government, corporate sectors, technical sector, media, and academia to create partnership, collaboration, and dialogue that demonstrate best practice and help us to move the policy forward in Bangladesh since 2006. BIGF has started a policy advocacy with ICANN for top-level domain in Bangla from 4th UN-IGF Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt in 2009. As a result, now Bangladesh has enjoying .Bangla top-level domain. On this opportunity, we would like to congratulate Her Excellency Sheikh Hasina MP, Honorable Prime Minister of Bangladesh, and Bangladesh Telecom Regulatory Commission, Bangladesh Telecommunication Company Limited, and ICANN for taking forward the top-level domain in Bangla. Therefore, now .Bangla top-level domain lead to universal acceptance. In this backdrop, today Bangladesh Internet Governance Forum is organized a Bangladesh consultation on universal acceptance of .Bangla top-level domain in collaboration with ICANN. I am very much in favor of this continued process of .Bangla universal acceptance of the internet world as a TDLD, which in the particular case which facilitated web browsing and content generation for some 350 million Bangla speaking people around the world. But first, let's get to work and let's help to create universal acceptance of .Bangla urgently. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Over to Bozdu Bhai.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abdullah Kono, indeed. I see here already joined Mr. TIM Nurul Kabir, Ambassador of 5th Industrial Revolution in Bangladesh. Welcome, Kabir Bhai. Okay. Now I have the pleasure to invite our designated speaker and guest of honor, Mr. Jiarong Lo, Vice President, Stakeholder Engagement and Managing Director, Asia Pacific ICANN, Singapore, for introduction to universal acceptance. Mr. Jiarong, now floor is yours. Over to
Thank
Mr.
you.
Jiarong.
Thank you very much. Excellency Minister Mustafa Jabbar, Excellency Mr. Hassanu Hainu, Chairman BTRC Mr. Shyam Sundar Sikder, and BTCL Managing Director Dr. Muhammad Rafiqul Matin. Thank you so much for having us, myself and my colleagues from ICANN, to be able to join you. Because of COVID, it feels like a lifetime ago since I was in Bangladesh when we visited Minister Mustafa Jabbar in his office, and we sat down to talk about the Bangla community's participation in the New Brahmi Generation panel. But actually, it's not too long ago, but COVID has really separated us for some time. But on the other hand, I'm very grateful for the Bangla community's support and participation, which resulted in the completion of the New Brahmi Generation panel's work. And that really paves the way for us to have a truly multilingual internet in the future. I also want to take this opportunity to thank the Bangladesh Internet Governance Forum and Mr. Onu for your support and collaboration. We've always worked closely with each other. My office actively supports the Bangladesh IGF and various initiatives, including the Youth IGF, and we continue to hope to be able to work with you. And very grateful for this opportunity for today. Now, coming back to IDNs, like I mentioned earlier, the work of the generation panels really paves the way for the next billion internet users to access the internet using their own scripts. And I think the speakers before me have all noted that there are challenges for us that need to be addressed, namely universal acceptance. I'll make some high-level remarks on the landscape, what are some things we want to think about. Then I'll hand my time over to my colleague Samad, who will share some other details on how do we get cracking, how do we start the work. So as we know, IDNs are already available. Like Onu mentioned, for .bangla CCTLD IDN, it's already available. And all over the region, there are others as well, like in India, .bharat, .thai, .china, etc. in their various local scripts. Now, these domain names in local scripts are very important for our region as they help connect the next billion. And amongst other things, globally, governments are also concerned about data privacy and security issues related to big tech. And actually, the diversity of websites, when they are developed by local community, is one of the solutions to mitigate this. So Onu earlier mentioned, that when we have IDNs, they facilitate web browsing and content generation. And this is where it really would help with the diversity of websites and allow us to mitigate some of the concerns when it comes to data privacy and security issues. However, while IDNs are available for registration, the current use is low because of the larger problem that software applications on the internet, including browsers, search engines, email, they're not aware and thus are not supporting IDNs. So I have one very funny and direct example, which is linked to my event on my backdrop here, the APEC DNS Forum. So we're organizing our inaugural APEC DNS Forum at the end of March. And it allows users to register for the event. So you have to type in an email and then create a password as usual, as with any event. So my colleague Samad, he tried to register using his Arabic email, and the website doesn't support Arabic email. And the website is hosted by a Malaysian events company. So the key thing is, how do we get the Malaysian events company to adopt universal acceptance? And it is a very big challenge because we have large developers that we all know very well, and small developers like the events company that we are working with in Malaysia. So it's something we have to think about very broadly. Now, but if we are able to address this problem by getting software developers to tweak their applications to universally accept IDNs, then it will greatly increase the registration and pick up with IDNs. And then it will have a spillover effect, which is a more robust community of local internet users developing their own content in their own scripts. And really, we build off one another in the ecosystem. And in the next few years, ICANN is really working on availing the next round of new generic top-level domains. And this would include availing even more domain names in Bangla script for the community. And domain names really function as an ecosystem. So when one person or company registers for a domain name, they usually register several domain names instead of one. So we can imagine a compound growth building off each other in the ecosystem where there's more and more use of .bangla and Bangla top-level domains altogether. So the next round for new generic top-level domains is in the making, but we can act now. And we can take this opportunity to get all our software developers and providers to be universal acceptance compliant in the meantime, to pave the way for that future. Now, the question is, how do we get started? And I'll hand over to my colleague, Samad, who can share some ongoing initiatives. And we hope to be able to work with you and the wider Bangla community to make universal acceptance happen. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Jiarong, for your providing for your nice background regarding universal access. We would like to fully endorse your contribution to the process of new Brahmi generation panel NBGP in Bangla. We would like to fully endorse again, and as well as we would like to fully endorse we would like to welcome again our meeting. So now I would like to request, I have the pleasure to invite our designated speaker, Mr. Sarmad Hussain, Senior Director, IDN and Universal Acceptance Program, for introducing about Universal Acceptance Steering Group and Universal Acceptance Local Initiative and Universal Acceptance Ambassadors. Sir, microphone is yours, Mr. Sarmad Hussain.
Thank you, everyone. And it's a pleasure to be here again and try to present some more details about universal acceptance, specifically around the UA Ambassador Program, as well as the local initiatives. All right, so let me start with introducing universal acceptance a little further based on the introductions which have already been provided. So eventually what universal acceptance means is that we want to make sure that all domain names and email addresses which are valid should work in all software applications. And it is essential to promote consumer choice, innovation, competition, and of course, allow a much wider, broader access to end users in their own languages. So we've actually been talking about domain names and email addresses, and with the internationalized domain names and also the new GTLDs or generic top-level domain names, it is now possible to have different kinds of domain names and email addresses. And what we capture here is a variation of what is possible. So you can have, for example, longer top-level domain names like .international forming domain names. You can have actually domain names entirely in a local language or script. And this gives an example of a Devanagari domain name. And these domain names can then be used to form different kinds of email addresses, including, for example, email addresses which are completely in a local language or script. And if you look at, for example, the last two cases, you have email address in Russian or Arabic languages, and they are entirely in Cyrillic script and Arabic script. So any application which is universal acceptance ready should be able to support all these domain names and email addresses, all the different kinds of domain names and email addresses we've seen. And what that means is that they should be able to accept, validate, process, store, and display them. And that's an ask which is, it's like a normal thing to assume that an email address, for example, will be accepted by websites and mail servers. But when we actually go out and test, that is unfortunately not the case. So I'm not going to go into all the cases here, but if you look at the top two, what we did was we actually went to top 1,000 websites globally, and in their contact us page, we actually tried to put in a Chinese email address or an Arabic email address, and out of the almost 1,000 websites, we found out that as many as 900 websites are actually rejecting such email addresses, saying that these are not valid email addresses in their opinion or in the way they are set up, even though the emails we were using to test these websites were actually valid and functional. So that is the problem, one of the problems which we are trying to solve, that when programmers are developing their websites, they are not paying attention to the kind of email addresses they are validating, and they only validate the more traditional ASCII or English email addresses, and they're not, if somebody enters an email address in their own local language, these websites think that it is actually a wrong email address and actually decline or give an error with that email message. Another study which we did was, instead of just looking at websites, we also looked at how mail servers are set up. And we looked at about under all the GTLDs, around 1,200 GTLDs. And we looked at the mail servers which are hosted or pointed to using these domains under these GTLDs. And we found about 35 million unique mail servers pointed to by about 2.5 million IP addresses. And when we tested each of these mail servers against we found that only about 7% of the mail servers which are pointed to from these 2.5 million IP addresses can support a local language email ID. Others would actually reject such an email ID and say that it is not a valid email ID, which means that if I have a Chinese email address or a Bangla email address and I'm sending an email out to about 93% of the web servers out there, they will reject that email and by saying that it is not invalid email address, even though it is not. And that's a significant problem, and that's a problem which we have to solve collectively, meaning that when we are developing our websites, or when we are developing or deploying our mail servers, we need to make sure that they are configured properly so that, for example, they can handle domain names in Bangla and also email addresses in Bangla. And this is obviously something which the community has recognized as something which is a significant challenge and should be addressed. Basically, the communities actually come together and said and self-organized into what is called a Universal Acceptance Steering Group, which is again led by community members as well. It has more than 500 volunteers at this time. This community called the Universal Acceptance Steering Group is actually supported by ICANN for, I guess, undertaking the work. It has multiple working groups which focus on the different problems. This community also looks at UA readiness globally and publishes an annual report, as well as develops an annual plan which it uses to actually work during the year. So as far as the community is concerned, they've organized themselves into multiple working groups which focus on technology, EAI, which is called short for email address internationalization, or for measurement. So the measurement working groups looks at measuring the current gaps. Communication working group obviously focuses on messaging. And then we also have local initiatives and UA ambassadors, which is what we are going to focus on today. And these working groups of Universal Acceptance Steering Group, this community-based organization, which is focused on promoting UA globally, is focusing on multiple stakeholders. So they focus on the technology developers, email tool and service providers, and policymakers to raise the awareness of this challenge, and of course also try to find a solution to address the challenge. And as you can see, that this is something which is not something which is going to be done just by the people who are developing tools, but it has to be done collectively by all of us, because when we develop our website or we deploy our mail server in our organization, we need to make sure that that website and that mail server which we are deploying is able to, for example, support Bangla IDNs and Bangla email addresses. So how do we work towards creating awareness of this and solving these challenges? Basically, one of the mechanisms used is to actually appoint UA ambassadors. They are appointed by Universal Acceptance Steering Group and on an annual basis, but many of the ambassadors continue for many years to help and support outreach for UA. Basically, UA ambassadors are well respected and articulate industry leaders who volunteer to raise the issues around universal acceptance at the national level and regionally. And they can do both general outreach as well as technical training based on, I guess, their own preferences. As ICANN.org, we support limited travel by these UA ambassadors to undertake these outreach events. In return, the UA ambassadors, of course, provide their quarterly progress reporting to Universal Acceptance Steering Group. There are, we'll share this presentation. There are further details which are available on the Universal Acceptance Ambassador Program, and anybody who's interested, and we are certainly looking for some ambassadors from Bangladesh to join. And if you're interested, you can, of course, share your statement of interest at info@usg.tech. And this is just example of some of the UA ambassadors from across the globe. We have ambassadors from China, India, Egypt, Nigeria, Turkey, South Africa, so actually globally. And we're always looking for more volunteers who can help us take the message across to local communities nationally and regionally. Some of the examples of some of the work they do, for example, there was a UA ambassadors who's actually done testing of 700 websites in their region to see whether they support, for example, local email addresses or not, local language email addresses or not. They publish articles. We've had universal UA ambassadors who've planned and conducted hackathons on UA at universities in Africa. They also go and talk to leading tech organizations to convince them to promote, to support UA. Obviously, they interact at international forums and conduct technical trainings. So they are actually quite active and in promoting universal acceptance with their local communities. In addition to UA ambassadors who work more on an individual basis, we also support what is called a universal acceptance local initiative. Basically, local initiatives are more organized, institutional in nature, where an organization or multiple organizations actually can come together and they say that they would like to promote universal acceptance in a particular region, either nationally or in a larger space. And work with the local technology developers, enablers, email software and service providers, and other community members in their region to promote the adoption of universal acceptance. They also conduct training and outreach activities. And the way this is organized is that the community actually comes together, multiple organizations, and they develop a proposal which has membership from a set of diverse stakeholders from, for example, a country, with a chair, members coming from software and web developers, and software project managers, system administrators, academia, DNS experts, and in many times it's actually led by the local, CCTLD operators. Basically, eventually the idea is that they organize events in the country, raising awareness, training people to support the local domain names and email addresses, and creating that ecosystem and promoting that ecosystem so that more and more organizations locally are configuring their websites and mail servers to support domain names and email addresses in local languages. There is a detailed process to apply for a local initiative. There's actually a proposal which needs to be submitted through, again, to info@uasg.tech, which is eventually evaluated by the UA steering group. And then if the local, once the local initiative is finalized, ICANN.org also provides funding support for the local initiative to undertake its activities. Currently, there are local initiatives in many countries. There is 3 national local initiatives, one in China, one in India, and one is in Thailand, which are very active. And then there's also a regional local initiative, which comprises of 7 different countries: Armenia, Belarus, Georgia, Latvia, Russia, Serbia, and Ukraine, which are working in their own countries. And in most of these cases, these are led by the country code top-level domain organization in the country. And they, as you can see, do different kinds of events locally, and trainings, and participate also in national conferences and events. So, we can share many more details with you. You can, you should get, there are other opportunities to get involved with the Universal Acceptance Steering Group as well. You can join their working groups. We have the links here. And you can also obviously participate either as an ambassador in individual capacity, or we are really looking forward to the possibility also of setting up a local initiative in Bangladesh to support Bangla domain names and email addresses in the local community. So with that, let me stop sharing, and thank you for the opportunity to present. We look forward to such an initiative coming from Bangladesh. Thank you very much, and back to you.
Yeah, Thank you very much, Mr. Sharmad Hussain, for your nice presentation regarding Universal Acceptance Steering Group, as well as Universal Acceptance Local Initiative, and as well as Universal Acceptance Ambassadors Program. Thank you very much indeed. So now I would like to invite Dr. Dr. Ajoy Datta, Chair, Universal Acceptance Steering Group. Before speaking, Mr. Ajoy Datta, I would like to mention something regarding you. Mr. Ajoy Datta, Managing Director of Data Group of Industries India, is most sought after leader for mentoring technology, guidance, and motivating entrepreneur. He is acclaimed leader and award winner for his contribution in the field of technology and supporting other entrepreneurs. Dr. Ajoy Datta, co-chair ICANN New Brahmi Generation Panel of ICANN. He has extended lots of cooperation regarding developing the root zone level generation rules LGR in Bangla. Now Bangla language has incorporated in top level domain and cyberspace. Three key words for Ajoy Datta, Dr. Ajoy Datta. One is industrious. Second one word is innovator. Third word is inspire. So now Dr. Ajoy Datta ji, now microphone is yours.
Thank you very much for the kind words towards me. Thank you, Honorable Minister and Bangladesh government for giving this opportunity to meet you virtually and talk to you. This is indeed a pleasure to talk about languages. This is kind of my first love, to make language barrier go away in people's life. My entire commitment towards day and night is towards that, and UASG helps us achieve this in a big way. What UASG is, maybe Jarong and Sarmad has spoken a little bit, but let me just give you a picture which you can understand in just 5 words. Let us say you have .bangla top level domain name available from government to the citizens, and Mr. Rahman registers a domain name rahman.bangla as a domain name, and there is an email address on that, let's say bazlur@rahman.bangla. So there are 2 things which he has got now in his hand: an email address in a Bangla script, it has no English character, and a domain name in a Bangla script. What is expected out of these 2 is that these email addresses and these domain names work exactly the way if he has Bangla English domain name or a English email address, which he already has, like government has a ASCII based domain names and ASCII based email addresses, which we know which works. So we don't discuss those things very often, because by and large it works. So imagine he has an email address and he tries to contact the Honorable Prime Minister on his gov.in email address, bangladesh.gov.in email address. Will he be able to communicate? Will it work? Can he subscribe to a newsletter? Can he buy his airline ticket? Can he register a complaint? Entire services which Bangladesh offers, will it work or will it not work? That is the key which requires an attention. And if it doesn't work, how to solve that problem is part of universal acceptance. So what universal acceptance is? If he has an email address, it should be accepted. So he should be able to type in onto a website or any app. It should be validated, which means it should be validated well. So first is acceptance, it should be able to type in. Second is the validation, it should be able to validate it, okay. It should be processed for the purpose it was asked for. Then it should be stored. Obviously, an email address at some system, it will be stored in the website somewhere, so that the mail communication can be sent, or subscription can be sent, or railway ticket can be sent, mail plane tickets can be sent, something has to be sent back, and then display. So if somewhere it is required to be displayed, it should be displayed the way it was entered. So there are 5 pillars: accept, validate, process, store, and display. If any email address written in Bangla script or a domain name in Bangla script gets passed with these 5 principles, the site or an application is UA ready. It's a time to party, time to enjoy that our language is accepted well in the website or the application which we are trying to address. So these 5 pillars are extremely critical. Obviously, we all know that this is not easy and this doesn't really work in every application. That is where we all are together discussing this issue today. And my colleague Sarmad told very well that there is a program. Without a consistent effort, nothing happens. Obviously, I heard Honorable Minister, there were people who even lost their lives to gain the language for the country. This does not require life, but this requires some little bit of time, a little bit of effort. That you have a bug, recognition of a problem, that we have a bug, we need to solve that problem. And that problem requires a solution. We at a UASG, Universal Acceptance Steering Group, as UASG, is committed with all kind of resources available, whether it is technical, whether it is knowledge, whether it is finances, whether it is guidance, are committed to ensure whatever will be required with Bangladesh government or the nominees by Bangladesh government, we will support them without any second thought. That commitment will be always there with UASG towards Bangladesh to break the language barrier and ensure universal acceptance take place as much as possible, whether it is technically, policy, whatever. Let me also share a small background what government is doing in India. And that will be very interesting for you to replicate the same or maybe take some ideas out of that. Government of India, Honorable Minister Rajiv Chandrasekharji created a workshop just like what we are doing here. So you are exactly doing the right thing to have the dialogue, have the discussion. They did this discussion and came out with a stakeholder group. And stakeholder group was consisting of few people from government and few people from private sector. And I am part of that. The committee was named as Universal Acceptance and Multilingual Internet in India. You can have exactly the same thing for Bangladesh. Universal Acceptance and Multilingual Internet in Bangladesh. And form a committee. We are happy to support that committee, join that committee, contribute in that committee as UASG, and ensure that all stakeholders in Bangladesh, whether it is software developers, whether it is platform developers, whether it is academia, whether it is government, whether it is large e-com companies, large education institutes, all are synced together to achieve this mission. This is not one person's job. Everybody has to align together. So the softwares which have been done till now, or softwares which are being done now, the softwares which are being done now, we need to ensure the software developers or platform developers build UA-ready softwares now. They cannot now build the softwares which have bug, which has a problem. What is the point? It is like today buying a router which does not support IPv6. What's the point? Because IPv4 alone will be obsolete in 2 years or 3 years. We all know that. Then what's the point of buying a non-IPv6 router? Same thing in the software. If we do not buy a software which is UA ready today, we are ourselves buying a software which we know has a bug which requires a solution. So we require a little bit of discussion, a little bit of dialogue, and a capacity building around it. UA Ambassador Program and local initiative is extremely good. I will not take much time, but I will bring my commitment to you. And I'm requesting Honorable Minister and the government here, please nominate few people who would work with us. We will align them with our working groups. They are welcomed. They are welcomed in any working group they require. You give them 10, 5, 20, whatever numbers you want to give. We will include them in our mainstream of UASG. And also give us 1 or 2 names who can become ambassador in Bangladesh. Please nominate them. We will guide them, nurture them, and we will appoint them ambassadors there. And also create a team who can drive a local initiative of UASG in Bangladesh. We will certainly receive a proposal, handhold them, and approve a local initiative program in Bangladesh. We would request your Honorable Minister and the team who is listening to me to please consider this request. This is probably your requirement too, but I am saying we are more than happy to take first step and have this commitment on the board and support you full-heartedly from UASG. We will leave no stone unturned to ensure that the world do not have language barrier and every software is UA ready, and so as Bangladesh, and enjoy the fruits of multiple languages in each country. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but thank you very much, Dr. Ajoy Datta, Chair, Honorable Chair, Universal Acceptance Steering Group, indeed. And you have mentioned 5 principles, 5 pillars, and as well as universal acceptance different model also. So we no need to reinvent wheel because model is available. So easily we can replicate the model from different side, from your side also. Thank you very much for your very, very specific propagative, very, very provocative points. So now I would like to invite, I have the pleasure to invite our special guest, Dr. M.D. Rafiqul Motin, Honorable Managing Director, Bangladesh Telecommunication Company Limited, BTCL. Sir, microphone is yours.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Chief guest of our today's high-level Bangladesh consultation on universal acceptance of .Bangla, His Excellency Mr. Mustafa Jabbar, Honorable Minister, Post and Telecommunication Division, Chairperson of today's session, His Excellency Mr. Hassanul Haq Inu, MP, Chairperson of BIGF, as well as Chairman Parliamentary Standing Committee for Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. Today's special guest, Chairman, Senior Secretary, BTRC, Mr. Shamsundar Shekhar, guest of honor, Dr. Ajoy Datta, and distinguished speaker. First of all, I'd like to extend my thanks to Mr. Datta for his commitment and for his willingness to help us related to the UA. So I'd like to just start with a presentation on universal access of .Bangla. So I will cover some issues, IDN and CCTLD services of Bangladesh and universal acceptance issue regarding .Bangla and challenges and way forward. So how could we way forward that? I will just go very quickly to finish it within that time. So the domain is identification, as you know, like Google.com, btcl.gov.bd, PTD, like this. So we have different TLDs, GTLDs, COM.net, and there are other lot of TLDs, CCTLD, bd.bd.in.ca, and IDN.Bangla is ours. So .Bangla and .bd, BTCL is working as a register for this allocation on behalf of Post and Telecommunication Division. So we have started .Bangla with our Uttoradhikar.Bangla, then Noti.Bangla, and we are BTCL. We are proud of starting our BTCL.Bangla as well. So .Bangla and .bd, we are the register of BTCL as a .Bangla.bd. And we know that the history, our Honorable Prime Minister inaugurated .Bangla services on 31st December 2016. And we know that we have been given this after a long period. And we know that we are with the guidance of Post and Telecommunication, BTCL is providing this. And these are the chronology. You all know these things. So we like to focus on universal acceptance, which actually Mr. Ajoy Datta already told about this. So universal acceptance, or UA, actually nothing but all valid domain names and email addresses must be accepted, validated, stored, processed, and displayed correctly and consistently by all the application devices and systems. That's what we want, so that our .bangla could be validated, could be stored with the dot extension email as a .bangla could also be. So what are the problems that we are facing? Actually, if we look into the web browser acceptance, some of the browsers are not working as I could say that it is not actually nicely working with our Bangla. And in some cases, if we do not type HTTP, and in that case, it is also taking much time to actually give the proper result. And in many cases, it is found that whenever we are giving any dot as an extension, it is understood as a full stop. So like that. So many of the operating system actually are not working nicely with the Unicode URLs. So we have tested and found that any email address with having extension of at the rate of btcl.bangla is not working. We have tried to send email to any other addresses, and we found that it is not transmitting, as well as whenever any other, we are trying to send email to btcl.bangla extension, we are also not receiving that. So this is what actually although Dr. Data has talked about, and we are facing this problem. Some of the applications are also not getting this. And some, you see that there are long string, short string, that problem also are also giving us some sort of pain. So this is what we have discussed, and whenever we are trying to register Facebook account, Twitter account using our at the rate of btcl.bangla, we are finding that the email address is not accepted. Sometimes it is said that you give another email address, so like that. So we know all know the Mohan's law of universal acceptance. When he said that an old TLD will be accepted more than a new TLD. And whenever it is exit TLD, then it will be accepted more than ID and TLD. And 2 or 3 letters of TLD will be accepted more than a longer CC-TLD or IC-TLD. So whenever we can overcome all these issues, then we could say, yes, we are successful in implementing our universal acceptance. So this is what we need to do. And for that, we will have to do whatever we need to do. And universal acceptance sharing group is working. And Mr. Ajay Datta, his data is already given us the opportunity to join that. And we gladly accept. Here the policymakers are present. So whenever they will allow us to work with them, we of course will work with them jointly to make it done as early as quickly as possible. And can you hear me? My electricity is not there, so I'm connected on.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
connected. Please proceed.
Okay.
Please proceed.
Issues we are facing and what is the way forward. So actually, we are whenever we are typing Bangla, we are not actually it is not optimized. So we will have to do that, and we have to, because of people are not using .bangla very conveniently, and that's why whenever anyone is purchasing domain, he is reluctant to renew it further. And we are not able to using the .bangla extension email address. So what actually BTCL is planning to do that? We are going for mass advertisement. We are trying to penetrate, but the problem is with the popularity, with the users, and with the acceptance. So you see, we are giving attractive packages. Whenever anyone is taking .bd and .bangla, we are giving them incentive, but still the things are not running with with our expectation. So expected policy level guidance that we need enforcement of the government so that everybody will be forced to use .bangla.bd domain. Approval of domain process will be automated because we have given already a guideline. So we are waiting to the guideline to be approved, and whenever the guideline will be approved, we will automatically register the domain so that it will reduce the time. And we will also can Bangla speaking people in India and Sierra Leone can also be interested to purchase our .bangla because they are also interested to get .bangla. We want to work with tech giants, Facebook, Google's, and pursue them so that they can also come up with Facebook.bangla, Google.bangla, so that it can it will become more popular than whatever we are doing. And there will be some issues for the registrant, and if we have a uniform domain name dispute resolution policy, then say for example, if any domain is given to anyone wrongly, and if it is asked or demanded by any other people who is valid, who has valid reason for that, then there will be a dispute resolution time so that we can resolve the issues within shortest possible time. So if we can do that, so without any checking, we can give any domain to anyone, and whenever there will be a dispute, that can be resolved very shortly to give it back to the proper people. So that's what was my presentation, and at the end, I again like to thank and accept the cooperation extended by Mr. Ajoy Data. Thank you very much. Thanks to all.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. MD Rafiqul Motin, Managing Director, Bangladesh Telecommunication Company Limited, BTCL, for your nice presentation regarding challenges, way forward, and as well as plan of action for future regarding universal acceptance. Bangladesh Internet Governance Forum would like to working with you always in this area. So now I would like to invite, I have the pleasure to invite our special guest, Mr. Shyam Sundar Sikdar, Honorable Chairman former Senior Secretary of Government of Bangladesh, now Chairman Bangladesh Telecommunication Regulatory Commission, BTRC, and it would be mentioned that he is one of the renowned poet in Bangladesh. So, sir, microphone is yours now. Mr. Shyam Sundar
Thank you,
Sikdar,
Mr.
Sir.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Crystal clear.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. A.S.M. Bazlur Rahman, and respected Chair, His Excellency Mr. Hassanul Hakim MP, Chairperson of Bangladesh Internet Governance Forum, and the Chairman, Parliamentary Standing Committee for Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, respected Chief Guest, His Excellency Mr. Mustafa Jabbar, Honorable Minister for Post and Telecommunication Division, and the guest of honor, Dr. Ajoy Data, Chair, Universal Acceptance Steering Group, Dr. MD Rafiqul Motin, Managing Director of BTCL, and Mr. Sarmad Hussain, Senior Director of IDN and UA programs, and all other designated speakers, and Mr. Onu, Secretary of BIGF. And I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks and gratitude to all of you. And particularly, I would like to express my appreciations and my regards to BIGF for organizing this valuable session of regarding this high-level discussion about the universal acceptance for .Bangla. So far, I have heard the discussions. I think the technical issues and the challenges, problems, everything has been have been discussed by the participants and discussants. And I think the very important issues have been showed by Mr. Sarmad Hussain. That was a very nice presentation. And then Mr. Dr. Ajoy Datta, he has nicely pointed out the very important issues, particularly for the 5 pillars regarding the universal acceptance of .Bangla. And then again, I would like to mention that Dr. Rafiqul Matin, Managing Director of BTCL, he has given his practical experience and knowledge about the maintenance of this .Bangla domain in our Bangladesh. And so I would like to repeat the proposal given by Ajoy Datta, that he has offered a very good proposal to Bangladesh to nominate some people, those who will be working with them for further development of our .Bangla domain in Bangladesh, because we are still lagging behind and we could not get the final approval from the from the universal group. So this proposal of Mr. Ajoy Datta, we should accept it, and I would like to request our Honorable Minister also to nominate some people from BTCL as well as from other organizations of Bangladesh. Bangladesh Telecommunication Regulatory Communication Commissions is the authority. As regulator, they will provide the highway or the gateway for using the internet in our country. So we will do that thing. That technical support will be provided from BTRC, no doubt, but the main domain should be maintained and operate for the users properly by BTCL. And so the main initiative should be taken by BTCL. I would like to mention this thing, as well as, of course, we will be getting some support and help from BIGF, as well as our Honorable Minister he's very interested in this .Bangla domain in our Bangladesh. He is very much interested to popularize it also in the whole world. So we should not lose our time anymore. We should start working for this. Saying these few words, I would like to conclude my speech here. And I would like to extend my thanks and gratitude to all the participants, the chair, as well as the chief guest and all other distinguished guests. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for your nice deliberation, nice speech. Mr. Shamsundar Sikdar, Honorable Chairman and former Senior Secretary, Government of Bangladesh, now Chairman, Honorable Chairman, Bangladesh Telecommunication Regulatory Commission, for your nice plan of action also and indication. Bangladesh Internet Governance Forum would like to working with BTRC. So we have all the time with you, sir. So now I have the pleasure to invite our chief guest, Bir Mukti Jodha, heroic freedom fighter, His Excellency Mr. Mustafa Jabbar, Honorable Minister, Post and Telecommunication Division, Ministry of Post, Telecommunication and Information Technology, Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh. Before Jabbar Bhai's speech, I'd like to mention one thing. First recent year, we achieved 2 major milestone for our nation, for Bangladesh. One is .Bangla top level domain under the leadership of Hassanullah Kinu MP, and second one is very interesting area called engage and involve concerned stakeholder, including government under the leadership of Honorable Minister Mustafa Jabbar, with ICANN, New Brahmi Generation Panel, NBGP in Bangla. Really, it is fighting, and as a result, concerned stakeholders, including government, involved and negotiated for developing the root zone level generation rules, LGR in Bangla. Now, Bangla language will be incorporated in top level domain and cyberspaces. So now I would like to hand over the microphone our Honorable Minister, Mustafa Jabbar, and our great mentor.
Thank you, Fazlul Bhai. Honorable Chair, my respected Hassanul Haq Inu, the coordinator of this discussion, Fazlul Bhai, Abdul Haq Inu, our BTRC Chairman, Shamsundar Shikdar, our BTCL MD, Dr. Rafiqul Motin, and many thanks to Sarmad Hussain. I could just recollect, and also Sarmad could recollect that for the first time we met in Laos, and that was probably a very big issue regarding our languages of this region. And many thanks to Sarmad, and I really remember the discussions we had was so useful that I utilized it after we met, and definitely after that we have met also. But I really remember the meeting we had in Laos. Thank you, Sarmad, for joining this excellent discussion. And we have learned a lot from Mr. Ajay Datta, because this is something very new area which we are discussing today. What we felt is that we have got .bd, we have got .bangla, and we are working with LGR, so we could think that yes, problems are going to be solved. But you have clearly identified, we have just entered into the problems. As we see that, my observation in the social media is that the people, whatever the way there is, whether this is right or wrong, even if they cannot write in Bangla script, they use Roman script, but they write Bangla. So that is the habit. Probably this is happening in India also. It is the nature of the people of this region. And as our chairman has mentioned, that this geographical area, which is named as Bangladesh, has given blood for the language. And this country has been created for the language. This is the name of the country is Bangladesh. Bangla means the language of this land, and it is the state language of Bangladesh. And it's not that this is one of the state languages. When we are in Pakistan, we were just asking that, okay, let Bangla has the status of one of the state language. But in Bangladesh, Bangla is the only state language. And in last 50 years, you know that the country Bangladesh has become something which can say that, yes, we are converting a nation which was an agro-based country to a digital country. And you know that we are observing the 100th birth anniversary of our father of the nation. We are also observing the 50th anniversary of our independence. And the issues we are discussing today, I personally feel this is very important. Even when Unicode Consortium was formed, I remember it was formed by Apple Computer, and I met the Apple Computer in 1989 in Thailand, and that was probably the first version of Unicode was released, and I recognized that few characters were missing. you will be understanding, Mr. Datta, that there are few characters which are not in the Devanagari script, but these are in Bangla script, and there are something more in Assamese script also. Say few 2 characters are added. So that was added, but subsequently we found that there are more characters to be added, and there are more rules to be introduced. And even today, if I write, in fact, I write most of the time in Unicode formats, we find that the Unicode builder doesn't work in many cases. So that is also a big problem that we have to look at. Particularly, I feel that the same problem will be with the Indian languages and also Asian languages, particularly those languages which are different from ASCII, that codes, those will be having problems, those are having problems, even in the age of Unicode. And as we are discussing today, that the universal acceptance of these languages are not yet complete. So I'm really happy to see that you have come up with really excellent solutions that we need to have groups, we need to have forums, we need to share each other's problem, we need to take actions on the issues which we are facing. So what I'll just say that Bangladesh, as the nation born in the name of a language, will definitely focus on it, on the most urgent priorities. As our BTRC chairman has mentioned, and also mentioned by our BTCL MD, what we express is that we are, with the efforts taken by BIGF, and we will be working with you together. I propose with my respected Hassanullah Inu MP and the BIGF people, please form a group and include whatever you want. And as Mr. Datta has mentioned, what type of people are to be there. And I'm happy that he has not just fixed any number. So let's consider the people who are really fit for working on this, and let's take representatives from the government. And definitely the role of BTCL and BTRC, both are very important, because BTCL takes care of the domain, and BTRC is definitely the focal point for our internet and telecom activities. So these 2 organizations are here, and as a guardian, the telecom division will be definitely supporting in any effort, whatever we take it. As Bozlubhai and Onu knows that whatever the effort has been taken by BIGF or any kind of initiative, Hasib is here, he knows also that for LGR and any other issues, the telecom division is definitely with every effort. So we express our full-hearted support with this. And I believe that 350 million Bengali speakers cannot be ignored. And I feel that the ICANN will not ignore it, the Unicode Consortium will not ignore it, but we have to definitely play our role, as it is important, because I understand that, yes, the problems of Bangla has to be identified the people from Bangla speaking. And definitely that is because we know our language, but definitely better than somebody else, because we understand the nature of the script, nature of the language, usage of the script and the languages. And definitely we can contribute to other Indo-Aryan languages, but Bangla is my mother tongue. I'll be definitely more comfortable in Bangla. So what I just want to express is that let's take a decision today that the formation of the group will be starting today, and I just put my support to our chairman of this discussion. He will decide how we will do it, because he is something like my elder brother. It's not from today. When I was just a student in the college and university, he was my leader, and till today, I'm really happy, and the nation is really happy, because the Bangla proposal was given by him, and we respect him for doing such a beautiful thing for the Bangla nations. I propose that Inubai will take the decisions, and we'll be simply supporting him. So I just like to thank everybody. Particularly, we are really enlightened with the discussion of Sarmad Hussain and Mr. Ajay Dad, and also a nice presentation given by Dr. Rafiqul Motin. Perhaps we have observed a day which will be beneficial to our mother tongue and the state language. So thank you, BIGF, for arranging such an excellent event, and particularly in this February, that we are observing it as definitely the most important occasion. Bangladesh really celebrates the February for its mother tongue. Thank you, everybody, and thank you again. Joy Bangla, Joy Bangla.
Thank you very much, His Excellency Mr. Mustafa Jabbar, Honorable Minister, Post and Telecommunication Division, and mentor of Bangladesh Internet Governance Forum, for your clear and concrete advice. And we hope BIGF will take necessary initiative. BIGF will take necessary collaboration with BTCL and as well as Bangladesh Telecommunication Regulatory Commission. So now I have the pleasure to invite Consultation Chair, His Excellency Bir Mukti Jodha, Heroic Freedom Fighter, Mr. Hasanullah Kinu MP, Chairperson Bangladesh Internet Governance Forum, and Chairman Parliamentary Standing Committee for Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Bangladesh Parliament. Sir, microphone is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Your Excellency Mustafa Jabbar, for accepting certain proposals put forward by Mr. Ajay Data, Jia Ronglo, and Sarmad Hussain. So before ending, I want to ask Mr. Sarmad Hussain, Mr. Jia Ronglo, and of course Ajay Data, whatever Dr. Motin and the Chairman Shamsundar Sikdar has said from the Bangladesh point of view, do you have any questions or further suggestions so that we can round up and take a decision to move forward? Before that, what I gather, let me summarize like that. What I gather that for the universal acceptance of .Bangla, we need to form a technical team of experts from Bangladesh who will collaborate with the technical experts outside Bangladesh. That is one aspect. Second, we need to form a technical team or a team inside Bangladesh who will take care the problems of using .Bangla within the country, and they will try to familiarize the concept of .Bangla and universal acceptance regarding websites and mails and everything with the Bangladeshi public. So two teams need to be formed, and in both the cases, the technical experts within Bangladesh need to be included in the teams with certain persons, maybe outside the government, who are not at the moment working with the government, but knowledgeable persons regarding internet and webs and other things. They can also be included from the private sector. So these two teams are important. So this is the crux of the matter of today's meeting. Beyond that, if any other suggestions, so that the minister can take a decision tomorrow going to the office and start working, please, Mr. Ajoy Datta or Mr. Low or Mr. Sarmad Hussain.
So let me take this opportunity, Jerong and Sarmad, please feel free to add if I missed something here. Thank you for this very active discussion, and Honorable Minister, really delighted to see your agreement to go fast, do quickly and achieve the mission what we are up. And of course, I'm just taking 30 seconds. My experience of NBGP working with you, I saw the passion, I saw the capability, I saw the way this team worked very tirelessly to achieve this mission. And of course, the results are in front of us. So congratulations to the entire team here, entire Bangladesh as a country, to stand together for the language and achieve what is right thing for the country. It is fantastic work which has happened. I think we are in the similar phase next step. And this can be done more quicker, more faster. Why? Because it is not much of the process as such. It is within us. It is within the country. It does not require too much of ICANN involvement, too much of outsiders involvement. It involves you. What ICANN role and Mr. Datta role in front of you is to handhold you, to be with you as a support so that you do not fall. That's it. And I'm telling you one more commitment. If you try to do this consultation in a physical form, I would be very happy to travel, and we will bring in the right sources there and organize a workshop, organize a training. UASG is committed to do all that stuff. If required, please plan that. So I think, sir, what we can do, if I may suggest, and if I am not overboarding the decision authorities here, like Government of India did, create a stakeholder group of the government and private sector. And that should recommend Honorable Minister a policy. What should be the Bangladesh policy for universal acceptance in India? If Honorable Minister approves that policy and announces that policy, that will become the path of universal acceptance of the Bangladesh. And that will become a historic document, by the way. It will become a historic document just like top level domain name. This is a great push, and I have seen an amazing result coming out of India from that matter. Second request I could make is BTCL MD could request and meet the NICSI CEO here, the counterpart in India, Mr. Anil Jain. NICSI CEO, what he is doing for .Bharat is exactly the similar replication for .Bangla. There's no difference. So there is a co-learning in between two friendly countries here. We are like brothers, sisters here, and we have solid relationship. So why not to leverage that and learn and immediately get to that steps in the registry side, what we can do? Because ultimately promoting top level domain name and domain names in Bangla is the key here, and ensuring the acceptance. So these practices can be immediately taken up here. Bangladesh is much easier, one language. India is fighting with 22 languages, much more complicated, much more difficult, but it's happening very well. And third is creating a team, as already you said. One is the policy team, second is the awareness team. So for awareness, UASG stand by with you, sir. UASG does two things: universal acceptance ambassadors and universal acceptance local initiatives. This is for the community. In that, government role is not much. It is for the community. So you can suggest the community, activate the community. Of course, government people can participate in that. There is no challenge. But we can support that community as an ongoing knowledge, ongoing process from UASG to you. These three steps: one is the government policy, second is the learning from the peer, and third is the UASG ecosystem, what we have. And of course, part of that, anybody out of you or recommended would like to join our working groups, please nominate them. Sarmad takes care of that discussion, and I can assure you that he has not rejected a single person till now, and neither will be rejected from Bangladesh. So please feel free to apply and become part of the working group, and we are going to make you part of this entire thing. So let me repeat 4 things. Policy team for government, which can be made the policy for the Bangladesh as such. Second, learning from the peer, from NICSI, if it is, or any other registry who is working for top level domain name. NICSI, I know, is working very strongly in this country. Third is local initiative ambassador program, which is extremely important here. And fourth is joining our working groups for knowledge, for content, and actively contributing, not just for Bangla, for the whole world. And that is how we can actually achieve complete universal acceptance in Bangla, and ensure that all the citizens have barrier-free access to the internet. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Will Mr. Sarmad wants to say a few words, or Mr. Low?
Yeah, if I may, thank you.
Okay.
I don't have much to add to what Ajay has already mentioned, but I agree to everything he has said, and I'm very grateful for Bangladesh IGF for convening this discussion, and also Minister Mustafa Jabbar for your strong support for this important work to move forward. I think Ajay has mentioned 4 very concrete steps, which I fully agree. And from the ICANN Asia Pacific office, we are very happy to support as much as possible. So on 2 fronts in terms of supporting, if you need a network with, like Ajay mentioned for his item number 2, about learning from any peers or any other registries, if you need any support or linking up from the region, I'm happy to help to provide any reference or to link you up with any registries within the region or globally. I'm able to do that. And also, if you have any other questions on, any other areas specifically related to the topic, feel free to reach out to us, and we will be able to work with Samad, who is our expert, to provide you with any other answers at any time. So we remain committed to support you and to work with you going forward. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Low. Mr. Hussain, do you want to say a few words or any suggestions?
Thank you very much. I think Dr. Data and Jerong have already said what I could have added. We are here to support you, and we look forward to working together in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So let me conclude then for today's discussion. We need to start right now. As the minister has said, I will request the government dignitaries who have participated in this discussion, please note that the way forward for universal acceptance of .Bangla is to develop a technical team of national, international level, joint team. That is one thing. Another awareness team which will work inside the country. So I don't specify. Another is that Bangladesh government need to develop a universal acceptance policy, and that is not a very difficult job. So a team which will draft this policy. Above all, a universal acceptance umbrella body, stakeholder group, government and private sector jointly can be formed immediately. The initiative should need to come from the Ministry of Telecommunications. BIGF will definitely collaborate and supplement and support this initiative. So, and here I think the BTCL, since is taking care of the .Bangla, so immediately BTCL MD needs to talk to the Indian counterpart who are doing the same job, so that we can save time and save some quicken the thing. So these are the major things. So I think that thank you for your cooperation and experts. And I think Mr. Low, Mr. Sarmad, and Mr. Ajoy Data, everybody has extended their collaboration, and they are open to questions and queries from our side. Thank you very much. So here now the ball is in the court of the ministry, telecommunication ministry. In the month of February, 21st February, Honorable Prime Minister, Her Excellency Sheikh Hasina, on behalf of Bangladesh and in presence of myself and the ex-telecom minister Rajiuddin Ahmed Raju and the then Secretary Sunil Kanti Bose, we officially submitted our proposal to ICANN headquarters. The process started in the month of February. So I think let us not be late. This month of February, let us start this initiative for universal acceptance of .Bangla. So I again appreciate Mr. Data, Sarmad Hossain, and Mr. Lowe's for their pledge to support the initiative for universal acceptance of .Bangla. So thank you, everybody. I hope by next week I will hear from the Telecom Ministry. BIGF will prepare a list of non-government sectors, non-government participants who will participate in the stakeholder group or other technical teams. Thank you very much. Joy Bangla.
Okay, over to Abdullah Konu bhai for concluding, or over to Jabbar bhai for concluding.
So, Mr. Jabbar, the minister, I said that I didn't see you. So I hope you heard that. So 3-4 teams need to be formed immediately next week, so that in this month of February, we can start the process.
Badubhai, thank you. And Inubhai, as you have said, this is an order for me. I'll carry out the order. 7th is definitely good for me. I'll within next week, definitely I'll come back. And I know Onu Buzlubhai, and you will find out the list of the private participants. And we have our BTRC chairman and also BTCL MD. So definitely we will be forming the group, and yeah, I'll let you know. Definitely.
Okay, thank you very much.
I think side, it is decided that it will happen.
Okay, so, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Definitely.
And you also please note that Mr. Ajoy Data and Mr. Sarmad and Mr. Low has said they will support, even they will come to Bangladesh physically. And I think it is necessary to come to Bangladesh physically and talk at length about the whole issue, so that the team can move very quickly. So I think the BTRC can facilitate these travel.
I have lots of experience with Sarmad, and I know how long he is working for the languages, and I appreciate his effort. So we will be definitely, and also I like to thank Mrs. Ziara Low. Probably you'll find that Bangladesh is more serious about her language. So I can assure you that one. And my ministry will definitely take the lead, will support in any form, whatever you need, we'll be doing that one. Motin, you must just discuss with your counterpart of India, because they are maintaining the same thing you are doing. So experiences will be helping you. And also we will be rich in just discussing what we need to do. So
yes, sir, I will do that.
It's okay.
Yes, sir, I shall do that, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, I think let us conclude.
Okay. Inubhai, আপনি শেষ করে দেন.
No, it's okay. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister Mustafa Jabbar and other participants. So I think it was a very fruitful discussion. We hope on the basis of our discussions and suggestions, the government will move from tomorrow. Thank you very much, everybody. Joy Bangla.